I recently just made 5-foot and 7-foot arches for my wife's event decor business. If you want to know how I did it, stay tuned. I'm setting up my fence here to make sure that it's square to my blade. This red line right here is my reference points. You can't really see it, but it's there. Now I'm taking my 4x8 1/4" plywood and knocking it down slowly. 4x8 plywood this big on this small saw can be very challenging. So you got to take your time to make sure that you're doing it safely, as well as making sure it's very precise cut. So that's what I did. Now it's time for me to cut the sides of the pillars that I'll be using for this setup. I'm using 2 pillars for each backdrop. So that's 4 pillars in all. So I need 8 of these side pieces cut for all pillars total. Before I begin again, I like to clean up a little bit. So I pull out the leaf blower and just kick around some of the sawdust that I accumulated. With the crosscut set out, it's time to start making some more precise measurements, ones that will come together when I'm actually going to glue and nail these pieces together. I always love the crosscut sled. It makes these cuts just way more simpler. Gluing and nailing is next, so let's just get straight to that. I got the 8-inch wide panel on the table saw. I'm trying to use the speed square here to establish some level of squareness when I glued up the sides. This is just a full errand initially. I'm getting better and better each time, so you'll see how I progressively go from one panel to the other. Yeah, so this is me trying to spice it up a little bit more by putting panels inside, cutting them down to size, and really just trying to make something as a nice guide and make it stable. But I realized I didn't need this in the long run, that all I really needed was a speed square, and you're going to see that be utilized a little later on. I haven't really done any significant tests with the glue. In every kind of YouTube video that I've watched, they always glue up plywood and any other wood before they fasten things to it. So I'm just doing the same here. I'd assume at this point you're probably tired of seeing glue bottles, especially ones from Gorilla Glue. But, you know, it's a necessary evil. So that you can see that I have the speed square clamped down to the panel that I want to staple or brad nail on. And this, in my opinion, is a better situation. It makes sure that things are square, and pretty soon you're going to see me also take this panel and clamp it down to the bottom panel. And I think that makes for a better fit, better uh, quality control on the squareness, all that. I'm gonna repeat this step on the other side, opposite side of the pillar, clamping down the speed square, make sure it's square as possible, and then clamp it to the side panel, glue it, staple it, all she wrote. Here, I'm just getting a nice little measure for the end cap. I thought that this would be a good idea of just marking it with a pencil while kind of like rough fitting it, but it was terrible. So I literally just took the measurements and sneaked up on it. In buttoning up the end cap, you might find yourself in a situation where the sides aren't even. So what I did was I used one of my clamps to bring it in a little bit, along with some glue. There is no shortage of glue that has to be used here. So on this part of the build, I'm just going to put a cap on the whole pillar, but it requires a lot of glue first, and then again, a lot of brad nailing. At this point, I don't even remember why I put this weight on top, but my assumption is it had to do something with compressing the glue down a little bit. So this is the product to see how it looks. I just did a little dry fitting. There's no base at the bottom yet, and so I'm using my little stand there to hold up the entire backdrop with some clamps in the back. But essentially, this is what it looks like. I'm gonna go over you right now how to brad nail on the backside of a wood that you don't know where it connects with the wood. So what you want to do is you want to take like a square rule here, and you want to measure the distance of the top to the wood. Then you want to take the midway point of the thickness of the wood, and you want to add that to the square rule later. Then you want to transfer that measurement onto the back, like I'm doing right here, right in the middle. Make your marks. 1, 2, 3. Then you want to put that brad nailer to work right on the mark, so it's slightly below it. And with a little sanding and a little painting, we are done. And so check out the finished product that we use for the setup for our client, where we use a butterfly backdrop and prop, and we have the balloons going on here with the arches in the background. My wife did a wonderful job creating this inspiration and this setup for our client. Speaking of my wife, here she is, gorgeous as could be. I really want to thank her for all that she did for this setup. She is a wonderful designer. She's done a great job. So check us out on our next video, where I'll be going over the butterfly build that you can see right now. If you have any interest, please think about subscribing to this channel. We'd really appreciate it. It'll help us out a lot. See you in the next one.